The following stories are inspired by documented paranormal encounters. Some locations and identities may have been changed to protect the people involved. These stories may be disturbing for younger audiences, and listener discretion is advised. This podcast is based on true events. Hello, I am Brandon, he, him.
Hey, I'm B, they, them.
Hi, I'm Dalia, she, her.
And this podcast is based on true events.
I did half of it.
It was your turn to forget it this time. Welcome back to another episode, guys. I don't know. I'm excited for my story today. Let's do a little vibe check though. Who wants to go first? How are y'all feeling? Who wants to?
I am.
All right.
I just had some pizza, so I know like every episode I'm gonna be like, I just ate this, so I'm feeling good. But
I mean,
I ain't like this time. Yeah,
that's kind of a vibe though. Yeah,
I had some pizza, feeling chill. Excited. I have another large story today, so one story episode. Cool. Yeah. I'm really enjoying, like we talked about, the birds out there.
Yeah.
I'm still really liking having that window open and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah. How about y'all?
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Having fun, enjoying spending the day with two really good friends. Just vibing, sharing scary stories. I'm having a good day.
No, yeah. Ever since that first episode, I have gotten more and more like in the zone and comfortable, and so I'm good. I'm fantastic when it comes to this now.
AutoZone sponsor us. In the zone, AutoZone.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say what?
No, not actually.
AutoZone.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Not sponsored, by the way.
As for me, I'm good.
Not yet.
I'm fine. I'm chilling. Exactly what you said. I am swell. Honestly, like, yeah. This has been going really well, and as you said, not only is it just recording, but it's another opportunity to hang out with like one of our best friends. Like, you know, like,
Yep,
I love you guys.
Love you too.
Extra
Mwah,
homo
mwah.
for you, Dalia.
Ooh.
That's fair.
Brandon's like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
It does track. Like,
We're gay as fuck in this house, so.
Guilty.
Okay, so, I have one story again today. I know,
Okay.
shocking. I switched it back up from 2 to 1. It was kind of like a little taste of what could be, really.
Keep you on your toes.
Keep you on your toes. But like I said, the first episode, I'll mostly have one storyers or storyers.
One storyers?
One storyers.
Hell yeah.
One story episodes.
Hell yeah.
Usually.
You know, you've been mixing a lot of words lately, and I gotta tell you, my favorite mixed up word is disappointed.
When did I say that?
You didn't, but
Okay.
I thought about it earlier. I think it was when we were on. Like,
okay,
episode
you're just saying
2.
in general. God, I was like,
and it made me think of the word disappointed. And that's like my favorite word.
As much as I would love to take credit for that,
disappointed.
like,
no, I think it was my dad that I heard say that for the first time.
Nice.
My country dad, the one that lives out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
That's
disappointed.
no, none of my mixed up words are ever good. They honestly just sound stupid, but
I think that
they're
might be my
funny
favorite
sometimes. So.
Right.
Because I can think of several situations where I'm just like, damn, I am disappointed at this situation.
Okay. Before we get into my story, I got one question that does relate to the story. Have either of you ever sleepwalked before?
No.
I have not, but my youngest brother does.
Really?
Yeah, I actually
actively.
Yes, I caught him one night sleepwalking, and he was peeing in the freezer.
Oh no!
And I was
How?
laughing at him, and because I was laughing at him, my dad made me clean the freezer out.
Was it like a side-by-side fridge then?
No, it was one that had like the pull-out drawer freezer.
Okay,
Like
because
which-
I'm thinking like a freezer on the top. I'm like, how did he get up there to
Nah,
pee?
Yeah, I want to say he was like 9 or 10 when that happened,
Oh
but
my
yeah,
goodness.
he made me clean it out because you think it's so fucking funny, so I had to clean it out.
Oh no.
It is objectively funny though. So.
Right, exactly.
I've sleepwalked. I've done that like at least once, and that I remember. Well, not that I remember, but
Yeah.
when I was young, like elementary school young, I remember my mom telling me that she woke up in the middle of the night to like running around her house, like the sound of running, which terrifying. Sorry about that, Mom.
Yeah, my bad.
But like, she turned on her light, and I come running up to her bedroom door that's open. I'm just looking around, and she goes, Brandon? And I just look at her and she goes, come on, come to bed. And I just get in bed with her and we go to sleep. Just went right to sleep. I don't know what was going on. I don't think I've ever sleepwalked ever since.
You had the fucking zoomies.
I had the zoomies, yeah.
I think I would cry if I woke up and you were just running around.
Oh my god, I'm just imagining.
Can you imagine as a grown ass man, like
just Naruto running in the middle of the night, and he's like, sleep. That's fucking crazy. Your poor mom must have been terrified.
No, there's no way she wasn't.
Right.
Like, that's horrifying. Think about it. We have like we sleep on the second floor at our house. If I did that here, I'd wake up with a broken leg, probably.
Yeah.
I'd like tumble hand over foot down the stairs.
Yeah. Those some steep stairs.
They are too, yeah.
Bless your ass.
Well, sleepwalking is a much more common of a thing than I ever would have thought. Mm-hmm. In fact, there are more than 3 million cases per year in the U.S. alone. But can it also be dangerous? And can forces beyond our control use our resting bodies to enact revenge from beyond the grave? As told by the show My Haunted House, and I do want to have a trigger warning for this one for suicide. We'll put the hotline number in the show notes.
Okay.
I give you the tale of the Sleepwalker. September 6th, 2010. Dana had just graduated from college. Due to the lack of opportunities in her hometown, she decided to accept a job as a high school chemistry teacher in Sacramento, about a 5-hour drive from home. Because of the distance, she decided to use one of those roommate finder services, and this is how she came to meet Allison. Allison had just gotten out of a long-term relationship with her boyfriend and was looking to start over fresh in a new city. Now, while Allison seemed cool, Dana wasn't too impressed with the older decor of the house. When casually asking Allison about it, Allison explains how it came with the house and that the manager had mentioned that the previous owner had died and so they had just kept it in the house. While strange, the two women were also broke and decided that since neither of them had furniture of their own, they might as well use what they had. While unpacking, Dana noticed a framed photograph of 3 men in white uniforms. She assumed that it belonged to the person who lived there before them and decided to shut it away in a drawer. She said that it didn't feel right keeping a photo of people that they didn't even know in their new place.
Yeah.
The night they moved in, Dana is awoken at 2 a.m. by the sounds of somebody moving. She said that she didn't know how to explain it, but that she could just feel someone in the room with her. Naturally, she turns on her phone's flashlight and is given quite a shock to see Allison in her room. She says that Allison was just standing there, her eyes wide open. Dana tried to call out to her, but Allison couldn't seem to hear her.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
That's when she realized, oh my god, she's sleepwalking. Dana gets out of bed and grabs Allison's arm just as she was about to start walking down the stairs to the first floor. This wakes Allison up. She is very confused and claims that she had never walked in her sleep before. Allison then tells Dana about the weird dream she had been having, about being in a hospital with a patient pulling on her arm, guiding her somewhere. The two girls brush off the situation and return to bed. The next day, Dana goes for a run to check out the neighborhood and finds that just down the street from her new place sat a large abandoned building. Even though there were no signs, Dana guessed that the building might had been a hospital, though now it sat with broken windows and its doors chained shut. Dana stood there, taking in the sight of the building, when her eye drifted to movement in the 3rd floor window. She could swear when she looked that she had just seen a man with a red face looking back at her. But before she had time to get a proper look, the man was gone.
Lipstick demon.
Yeah.
And Dana settled on the idea that it might have just been the light and shadows playing tricks on her eyes. Later that week, Dana and Allison are relaxing in their new living room, sharing stories of ex-boyfriends over glasses of wine.
As one does.
As one does. A bottle and a half later, Allison had already fallen asleep, and Dana was just drifting off when she hears the front door close. Upon further inspection, she sees out the window that Allison was sleepwalking again and had walked straight outside.
Damn.
By the time Dana puts on her shoes and makes it outside, Allison was already at the end of the street.
Oh my gosh.
And Allison continued to walk straight to that creepy old building from earlier in the week as Dana chased after her, calling her name. Dana says that Allison had been reaching her arm out in a weird position as if somebody had been leading her inside. By the time Dana reached the entrance, Allison was nowhere to be seen.
Damn.
Now Dana was really scared to enter the building, but she was even more afraid that Allison might hurt herself, so she went inside to look for her. Upon entering the building, she sees what seems to be an old homeless lady in the front hallway. She asks her if she had seen anybody walk through recently, but the old lady only answers with a smile before turning and shuffling deeper into the building. Dana then thinks she hears Allison's voice coming from outside and rushes out. Maybe she hadn't come into the building after all. Dana was ready to grab her roommate and put this entire weird night behind her. But Allison wasn't outside. Dana followed the sound of what she could now tell were Allison's cries of fear, up to see her roommate staring down at her from a third-story window. Dana tried calling up to Allison, but she again seemed not to hear her. She seemed to be in her own world as she cried out. She kept looking back behind her at something. Dana couldn't see from... She kept looking back behind her at something Dana couldn't see from down on the ground. Something that Allison was clearly terrified by. Then, before Dana could fully process what was happening, Allison was falling.
Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
Between Allison jumping out of a window and her history with mental illness, it didn't take long for the police to rule Allison's death a suicide.
Oh my god.
Though Dana told the police about the sleepwalking, for reasons unknown to herself, she decided not to tell them about the man she had seen in the window earlier that week. The same window, she realized, that Allison had jumped through. The newspaper article about Allison's death confirmed that the abandoned building had once been used as a hospital, and through a bit of digging, Dana discovered that the previous tenant of her house had worked there as an orderly in the psych ward. A couple nights later, Dana has a really weird dream. It was exactly what Allison had described. She was walking down this long hallway with a woman in a hospital gown. She was holding Dana by the hand, leading her towards these doors. The woman kept looking back at Dana, like she had something to show her. "Wake up! Hey, wake up!" came a sudden voice. Dana looked around to find herself in the middle of a road. She had been awoken by a man who had just come very close to hitting Dana with his car and was understandably very shaken up. After apologizing profusely to the man, Dana finally realizes that she had been sleepwalking. She had walked 3 blocks down the road in her sleep, right to that abandoned hospital.
Damn.
Dana's mom insisted that Dana come home after hearing of the incident, but Dana, having too much on the line with her new job to just up and leave, decides to stay.
Oh my god.
The next night, after assuring her mom over the phone that she would be alright, Dana hangs up, puts the phone down, and looks up. In the glass of the turned-off TV, Dana sees a man in a straitjacket standing behind her in the couch. Or standing behind her on the couch.
Yeah.
Of course, when she looks around, the man is gone. However, her front door is now standing halfway open. She was positive that she had closed that door earlier. Dana doesn't manage to sleep that night, nor the night after. She keeps herself awake by grading papers, but is barely able to keep her eyes open in class. On the 3rd night, she couldn't fight it anymore. After what felt like just letting her eyes fall shut for a moment, she jolted up. She's no longer in her bed. Instead, she sits on the metal framing of what was once a bed in the room of what she immediately discerns as the abandoned hospital. She prays for this all to be a dream. She pinches and scratches her hands until she draws blood, trying to wake herself up, but she wasn't dreaming. She was there. She decides to try and find her way out, but the hospital was like a maze. Every turn, every door led her back to the same place. She starts seeing people in white hospital gowns and tries to remain calm as she tells herself they aren't real, it's just a dream. The floor now starts to fill with smoke and the light of fire. She sees a man covered in burns, screaming for his life through the viewing window of a closed door.
Damn.
She shuts herself in a room as the flames grow closer. There they were again, the patients that she had been seeing. The woman who who had been leading her in her dreams. One by one, she watches as they each drop themselves out of the window on the far wall. She decides to call for help out of that same window. She can see people running below out of the building. Why are they not coming back for her? Can they not hear her screams for help? And does she recognize 3 of the men in white uniforms? She thinks she's seen them before in a photograph. One of the men stops and looks straight up at her before running away with the others. She was panicked now. She could feel the fire starting to burn her skin. She had no other choice. This window was the only way out. As she readied herself to jump, she suddenly felt 2 hands grab her by the arms and pull her back. In an instant, the heat from the flames was gone. The room once again in shadows. And Dana stood there staring into the face of the old homeless woman that she had seen the night that Allison died. It felt like she came out of nowhere, but Dana could tell that she was real. She was awake for real this time. Dana's doctor was able to convince her that it was all just a crazy night of sleepwalking and bizarre dreams brought on by the stress of Allison's suicide. And while Dana would like to believe that this was true, she just doesn't know. But what she does know now is that 20 years earlier, there really was a fire in that hospital. And the orderly that lived in her house, along with the other orderlies, ran off and abandoned 7 psychiatric patients to burn alive on the 3rd floor.
Oh, God.
She didn't find any of that out until later. So how could she have been dreaming it? Dana moved back to her hometown and found a teaching job closer to her parents.
Hell yeah.
She hasn't sleepwalked since.
Okay. Oh,
That's my
God.
story.
Yeah.
That's... God, imagine how real that felt for her to be able to feel the flames licking at her skin.
No, yeah. I can't imagine I would not have a similar feeling like, I guess I gotta jump out this window.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know, man.
It's the feeling of being trapped, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have no choice.
That's a huge thing. Yeah, you escape out the window or you die in the fire. Think about that. This is maybe bad to bring up, but 9/11, that's what people were jumping out those windows in 9/11 because the building was burning and they'd rather jump to their deaths than burn alive.
No, yeah.
Because they suffer more when they burn alive. And I you can't blame them for that. But the fact that she tried to wake up clawing herself and still did not wake up is so scary to me.
No, that's terrifying, yeah. Have you ever had like a dream that vivid?
Yes.
I can remember vividly one. It was a nightmare I had. I've told this story a bunch of times to you guys. I was in Gulf Shores with my mom on a vacation in like senior year of high school, right? Mm-hmm. And I got sunburned very first day, and I was sleeping on a leather couch. So
Ow.
I had a very vivid dream that I still remember to this day, that I was running through the halls of like a house I had lived in. Every door was closed. I could feel like something was chasing me, but I couldn't wake up. And when I tried to scream, all that would come out was, and my mom woke me up because I had been making that sound in real life.
Damn.
Like, no, the way that dreams can just feel like so incredibly real is insane. And like,
Yes.
yeah.
Have you ever lucid dreamed before?
No. I would love to lucid dream. I never have.
I lucid dreamt one time. Couldn't tell you. Can't remember much of it. It's not very scary. So
Really? Because I'm terrified
Oh yeah.
of lucid dreaming.
Really?
Yes.
Well, in the like, I guess like there is a point to be scary, but the actual like subject of the dream was not. It was very. I can barely remember it. That's how uneventful it was. But I was definitely lucid dreaming. So, and then we've had dreams. Or at least I've had dreams where you pick up a dream from your past and continue it.
Yeah.
You ever have a place you would go that was like made up in your head?
Yep.
I did that when I was younger. Dreams are so freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Like what causes some of these things? I mean, I know there's
going like back to the story. I wonder what the house was actually haunted by. Like, do we think this happened long enough ago to where, you know, the orderly who lived there is dead now and his guilt is what's haunting the place? Or do we think that he was haunted by the people he let die and they've just continued? Because, like, there's a couple different possibilities. And again, as we say, none of them are fun, right?
And it's amazing what guilt can do and the energy that comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
I could absolutely see that.
I think the
being an
picture. Sorry,
You're fine.
Yeah. I think the picture of the 3 men is like a testament to that because they were the ones that escaped, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then their pictures were there. So maybe it was one of those guys, and like you guys said, the guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what that is. You asked, but
Right. Well, because I would think it was just the guilt, but then they saw like the mental patient behind them and like the reflection of the TV. So it could be a combination of things. Obviously, like,
Absolutely.
well, ultimately we'll never know. It's just a lot to think about, right?
I think I said "damn" 15 times while you were reading
Oh,
the
yeah.
story.
No, yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. We were talking like in between episodes, and I had noticed a pattern where, unlike with all the other stories, every time, like, because mine have been like particularly a little bit heavier for the episodes. Every time I finish a story, it'll just be silence for a bit as you guys just like soak it in for a minute, like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
You ready for some pictures?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this first one, this is interesting. So this first one is actually, this is the hospital that they filmed at in the episode. But what I need you to understand is this hospital, it's called Linda Vista Community Hospital. This is an actual haunted hospital that's known. Obviously, I don't think this is the one that's actually been talking about, but this is the one they used for filming in the episode. But this hospital is legitimately haunted and has been like explored by ghost hunters and everything before. So this is Linda Vista Hospital, right? So that's, you can probably see from like 3rd floor or whatever. That's where they had all that going on.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
This next one is a painting from 1887 by Maximilian Perner, and it is just simply titled Sleepwalker. And I just kind of figured that it fit into today's story pretty well.
That's a beautiful painting.
It is a very beautiful painting. For those who don't have a chance to see it yet, it is of a woman sleepwalking, edging her way along like the outside of a building, basically. But no, it's great. I love that painting. It's beautiful. Yeah, but that is what I have today. Dalia, you said you only have one story for us, right?
I do, yes.
All right.
This one is also very interesting. I feel like I say that with most of my stories, but
things can just be interesting.
They
so
can
like,
be.
I love that.
Especially when it's a subject of your interest.
Yes, this one I'm really excited for.
Sure.
It's a little different from other ones I've done. I know I've done a variety, but this is different from all of those.
Okay.
And I am very excited because this is one of my favorite types of paranormal.
Okay.
So let's get into it.
Sure.
I've titled this encounter Unknown Number. And the OP says, "Hello everyone. The story I'm, male, 29 years old, about to share is 100% true and real because it happened to me and my then girlfriend."
Great.
Yeah.
Love that.
It was the middle of July 2011. I was 15 years old, completely clean from any alcohol, drugs, or anything like that. I was very athletic and loved sports. I would even describe myself as pretty responsible and grounded kid for my age. That summer, like every year, I was spending my vacation at my grandparents' village, a small place of around 400 people. There were always kids to play with, and we would stay out together from afternoon until sometimes 2 or 3 a.m. My grandparents gave me freedom I never had with my parents. In their backyard, there were 2 houses. One, built by some great-grandparents, was over 100 years old.
Damn.
The other one, a newer one, was built by my grandfather. That summer, for the second year in a row, I decided to live by myself in the old house, and my grandparents stayed in the other one. During the day, I helped my father with farm work. We had a small farm. A lot of hard work. And in the evenings, I went out with friends and came back whenever I wanted. It felt like absolute freedom. At that time, I had a girlfriend from my school back in the capital city. I was deeply in love. It was my first love, full of innocent excitement. We talked on the phone daily. One night, a big summer storm was approaching. The village lost power. No lights, no street lamps, complete darkness. It started pouring and thundering so hard that there was no way anyone could go outside. It was around 2300 hours, so 11 p.m., when I decided to go to bed. Outside, the storm was so fierce that the thunder made my bed shake, and it was really windy the whole evening. Surprisingly, I fell asleep pretty easily. The next thing I remember was waking up to the sound of my phone ringing. A Nokia 6303. He threw it in there. I think he was just trying to show his age. Next to me. When I opened my eyes, what I noticed first was that the storm had completely passed. Clear sky, calm air, the streetlights were back on. I looked at my phone and it showed my girlfriend's name. I answered the call, put my phone to my ear while lying down, closed my eyes, and we started talking, greeting each other, asking what the other was doing. I remember feeling extremely sleepy, and very shortly after answering, maybe 10 to 20 seconds after that, I must have fallen asleep, because I remember nothing else. The next morning, I woke up normally. While sitting on the toilet, I remembered, oh yeah, she called me last night. Curious about what we talked about, I checked my call history. Received call at 12:26 a.m., lasting exactly 1 minute and 35 seconds. I thought, that's pretty odd, and immediately called her to ask what we had talked about in the first 10 to 20 seconds of the conversation because I couldn't remember anything. At first, she laughed, thinking I was joking. What do you mean you don't remember? And what 1 minute and a half are you talking about? She asked. I explained the time I had seen on my call log. Then she got quiet for a moment. And that's all? That's all you remember? She asked again. She said that after she first called me, we talked for about a minute or so, during which I told her that my phone battery was dying, and that I'd call her back using my cousin's phone, since we were supposedly together at the time. She agreed, and we intentionally ended the call. About 20 seconds later, she received a call from an unknown number. When she answered, it was me again, or sounded exactly like me. Are you ready now? That's what it says. She says we talked for 45 minutes straight.
Ooh.
Apparently, I told her it was my cousin's phone and that she could save the number. We talked about personal things only she and I knew. I acted completely normal, using familiar names and references. Nothing felt off to her. She said there was no way that she could mistake my voice. We were in love and spoke to each other daily. Plus, no random stranger could possibly know that much about us. Right?
Right.
Near the end of the 45 minutes, she said my mood suddenly changed, and I ended the call abruptly, right after she received a text from the same unknown number that said, I love you, little mouse. Everything's fine, we'll talk tomorrow. Sweet dreams. Heart emoji. We had specific nicknames for each other, and I never in my life called her Little Mouse before. She found it strange, but also kind of sweet, and brushed it off. When she told me all this, for a second I was sitting there, mouth wide open, before laughing as I couldn't believe it. I was alone at the house that night. There was a storm, no electricity, and I had gone to sleep early. My cousin wasn't even at the village. I couldn't believe her at first. I thought she was messing with me, but when I returned to the city a week later and we met up, she showed me her call history. First out call, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Second call was in call from the unknown number, about 45 minutes. Then, 1 minute later, the text message from the same unknown number. We decided to call the strange number from her phone, and a man answered almost immediately. A complete stranger, sounded maybe in the mid-30s to us, so nothing like a 14-year-old. He told us he was living in the capital with his family. He was very cooperative when we explained the situation briefly. He said he had no idea who we were, had never called or texted my girlfriend's number, and when he checked his outgoing messages, there was no record of the text we received. My girlfriend swore she didn't recognize his voice at all. We didn't want to keep him long, so we said thanks and ended the call. Afterward, we sat on a park bench, completely freaked out, speechless for minutes. Neither of us could explain what happened. Years later, we went our separate ways, each now with families and children. But even now, 14 years later, we sometimes still talk about that night. how we felt, and the storm that took place. And the most bizarre thing was, she was talking with me, quote unquote, for almost an hour. We never found a satisfying explanation. We speculated maybe it was some kind of cell network glitch, some weird signal crossover, but even then, how did the stranger, or whatever was speaking, have all the personal details to carry a 45-minute conversation? How did a text message get sent from someone else's number without him even knowing? Nothing like this ever happened to us again. If anyone here has experienced something similar or has an idea of what could have happened, I'd really love to hear your thoughts and theories. Thank you so much for reading. It's the first time I'm sharing this. And then another user commented. They said, how did you get your phone to call an unknown caller back? Or do you mean it showed the number and you just didn't know it? I have so many questions. I wish there was a transcript of the creepy call. To which OP replied, so it showed the number, but it wasn't in her number catalog. And in the call, I said to her to save it because it was my quote-unquote cousin's number, and she did save it. Funny is that when we met after that and called the number, it was saved with my cousin's name in her phone. We also had another theory that I was sleep talking, but that doesn't fit. Crazy. You can ask anything you want. I will try to answer.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I can't even begin. Like,
I can't think of a single explanation.
No. Because, like, my brain, the wheels were turning that whole story, and not a single one clicked into place at all.
Nothing.
So, several commenters mentioned parallel universe theories, time travel theories, glitches in the Matrix, and more. Do you think any of those are plausible?
I mean,
sure.
Electricity is powerful.
No, yeah.
And if this happened during a storm, I mean,
some people were saying that as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't have a
baffled.
definitive explanation. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I would even begin to think it is. Like, yeah, sure, parallel universe thing, like a slip in, like, some kind of time stream. I don't know. That's wild.
But 45 minutes?
That's way too
When those
too
kinds
long.
of slips happen, they don't happen for 45 minutes.
No. And holy shit, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to feel like obviously it's paranormal. It's, excuse me, Jesus. That's outside the normal. That just kind of, I'm sorry.
Keep that in. So keep that in.
I'm sorry for your,
better out than in, right?
Right, I apologize.
That's okay.
No, but what? I don't know. Look, obviously it's paranormal because it's outside the normal, but like I can't think of a single like ghost scenario or like mimic scenario. That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I think it was a time or parallel universe thing.
Yeah.
If like obviously I'm telling the stories of allegedly true encounters.
Of course.
This is allegedly true.
As they all are, yes.
I love the idea of time travel and parallel universes and just paradoxes and weird shit out of the normal like that.
Yeah.
That is
that's
so
crazy.
interesting to me. It makes me think, and I love things that make me think.
That's
like
probably
that.
my favorite one you've done so far. That's
Really?
cool.
Yeah, that's my favorite one too. I'm glad you guys liked
That's
it.
a stumper for me.
Yeah.
Like, what? What do you mean?
Now, this, I couldn't really, it's hard to capture something for a story like this. So I found a photo, I'm going to send it now. It is a representation of a parallel universe and what that would mean. It's most likely AI. I found it on LinkedIn of all places.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And
All the
there was
places.
also...
It's a gorgeous picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also something about timeline shifts, which there are a couple different definitions for that. Timeline shifts can be purely through manifestation of you changing, how you perceive things, but it can also be a literal timeline shift. So,
Right.
I think that this is a very interesting representation of that. Even if it is AI, unfortunately.
If it's not AI and you know, like, the artists, like...
Absolutely.
you tag them or put them, like, in the comments of wherever you're seeing this, because, like, I really want to know, because...
Please do.
I can't see any... Well... No, I do see some telltale signs that it may be AI. Look at the clocks on the left. Like the big one, especially like the bleeding of the numbers and stuff.
Well, either way, it's a representation.
Yeah.
And I didn't generate it myself, so
No, yeah, that's the important part.
exactly. So I'm glad you guys liked that one. That one stumped me for a while, and
No, yeah, that one's gonna stick with me for a bit. Because how? Like, even if it's like, even if you have a story that's like ghosts and stuff, you can kind of be like, okay, I can fit this into my wheelhouse of what I know about spirits and ghosts and demons and whatever. I don't have a wheelhouse for that. Like, I don't even think that's the right word to say. I don't have like a box I can put that in, you know?
Yeah, I don't have the knowledge for that one.
Yeah, I don't have. That's crazy. I like that story.
I want to have the knowledge for it. I want to know more. I want to read all the experiences like that.
Yeah.
And it gives me some kind of, I don't know if the word is hope, but some kind of like feeling, oh, there is more than just this. Oh, there is more. There's different universes. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I'm very hopeful of that already. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. Oh, I have been for a very long time. But I think it's a very interesting concept for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Wow, that was a okay, nice. I like that story. B, what have you got for us as our little palate cleanser today?
I've got an acts of kindness story.
Nice.
That,
Love that.
I like.
Yeah. Be kind.
This to the surprise of absolutely nobody, it's from Reddit.
Of course.
And this was posted 15 years ago.
All right.
And it says, more often than not, I see a lot of young homeless people on our streets while I'm going to and from work. The ones I see rarely have signs begging and have pets in better shape than themselves. Anyways, I always thought about helping out someday. I was walking to the bus stop and saw a young couple with a dog. The couple were very dirty and looked pretty malnourished, and I noticed that the dog was eating while they weren't. I was pretty confused because I figured that food would come first to them and not the dog. For whatever reason, this caused me to stop to talk to them for a little. What I thought would be a 5-minute convo turned out to be over 30, and I finally asked them if they needed some help. I offered to take them to my house and let them shower up and eat a good meal, but they both very politely turned it down. I tried for a little longer to convince them to accept, but they still refused to take anything. When I got home, I went through my closet and gathered everything that I didn't wear anymore and a few blankets. I also called my favorite restaurant and ordered 3 big, heavy meals. I went out looking for them, and they hadn't moved at all. I gave them everything I had along with $50 and my phone number and address. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but they seemed very genuine. They were very appreciative, and the girl cried for a good 15 minutes afterward. I kept them company for a little longer and eventually left. 3 weeks later, I received a postcard from California. I was confused because I don't know anyone that lives there. It was from the couple. It was from the couple, just letting me know how appreciative they were. They said that they still have most of the stuff I gave them and thanked me for the food because it fed them for that whole week. It was very humbling, and I'm glad I did it. Unfortunately, my roommate threw away an entire box of keepsakes I had, including the postcard, during our move, because he said it looked like a bunch of old papers and thought it was garbage.
Go fuck yourself.
Right.
Don't assume anything.
Touch my shit.
I'll occasionally buy an extra burger or sandwich when I get fast food and give it to someone that looks like they need it. You should try it sometime. It's a good feeling.
I love that. That was so good.
That's really nice.
I love that, you know, they got confirmation that, hey, like, we were able to get to where we needed to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so nice. I wish I had, like, more money and resources to help people like that.
To be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
When I was a teenager, we went to Hawaii. My parents got some sale airplane tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was actually right before my sister passed, so it was a nice thing to have as a memory.
Yeah.
Mooney,
go away.
Our loud ass cat, Moon Dragon, was yelling at the door.
Yeah, she's like, I'm here.
We have to close the door because if we let her in here, she'd steal the whole show.
Yeah, she
whole
would.
show.
It'd be the Mooney show.
There's gonna be Mooney merch.
I hope so. So like I said, I was a teenager in Hawaii, and we went to this little restaurant called Beach Hippie Grill, and we ended up having leftovers, and we got something extra to take home with us in case we got hungry later because, well, we were smoking weed. And So we were walking, and there was this frail old man, and I remember he was shaken, and he was very polite, very kind, and even if he wasn't, I mean, the world has not been kind, so you shouldn't expect that, but he was very kind, and he said, do you happen to have any spares in your leftovers? And I was, very timid, especially with my situation with my father and stuff. So I looked at my dad, and I had it ready, hands forward, ready to give this man. And I said, can I give him our food? And my dad said yes, which, and that was really nice. And I ended up chatting with him for a little bit. He was so kind, so gentle. He had been sick recently. But we went back to the hotel, and my dad and I were chatting, and he said something that really stuck with me the rest of my life. And that could have been his last meal on this earth. And we showed that man kindness. And ultimately that is what is important. And that is that is a really good thing to take away from.
Absolutely. Ultimately it comes down to I used to have a stepmom, the one we hate.
Yep.
And,
boo, tomato.
No, yeah. She was evil, but she always would be against giving homeless people anything. But one thing my dad for sure was hey, it ain't about what they do with it. It's about what we're doing to help.
Exactly.
Yeah. I understand having trust issues and stuff, but ultimately you don't know what they're going through.
Right. That's their karma, not mine.
Yeah.
I remember being in high school, and I had just picked up a friend of mine, John, and we were going to go to my mom's for the weekend. Well, we stopped at a gas station, and there was this couple there, and we started talking to them. They were like, yeah, our car just broke down, but we're going to try to if we walk now, we could probably still get to her job interview, which I think it's really going to turn things around for us. I was which I had my old Ford Ranger. It's just a little truck.
Ford fucking Ranger.
Hey, I can throw my guitars in the back if you don't mind a little bit cramped. We'll take you to the place. So we took him there, and I used to carry just a bunch of change back when cash was more used, I guess, at least for me. And so I was also hey, it's not much, and I just gave them all the change that we had built up, just for whatever. I didn't need it, but I hope they're doing well is what I'm trying to say. I hope everything went well for them.
It's really scary how many people are one paycheck away from that becoming their reality.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people forget that
Yeah.
When they lose their compassion for people that are in that situation.
Correct.
No, 100%.
Well, if you give them that money, they're just going to spend it on drugs. They're fucking homeless and it makes them happy. Who cares?
No, yeah. You are closer to being homeless than you ever will be to being a billionaire. So
so stop kissing their fucking feet.
Right,
don't forget who you're supposed to be loyal to.
I'm not saying you got to go out and give all of your personal belongings to
if you
whoever
can't,
else,
you can't. But don't be mean.
But have some compassion.
Yeah.
If you're in a position to help somebody, help. Right. Pay it forward.
You got a picture for us?
Yes, I do,
all
actually. Right. I just got a picture of some people volunteering in a soup kitchen.
Hell yeah.
Which is another really great way
absolutely.
to help if you don't have the money or the resources to do anything personally.
Yeah, if you got the time at the very least.
I guarantee you there is a soup kitchen somewhere near you who could desperately use the help.
At the same time, if you don't have the money, the resources, or the time, we get it. We're all living day to day.
Acknowledging it
just being kind
enough sometimes.
Complimenting somebody.
Doesn't take anything.
Compliment somebody. I like your bag. I like how you did your hair today. Even that can change someone's outlook of their whole day.
Oh yeah, just a random compliment.
Brandon's really good at that.
I love telling people how cool their hair is. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah, my favorite.
It's so nice.
My favorite is so I'm a Vivid color model, right? My hair's always all kinds of funky different colors. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My favorite is when little girls come up to me and they go, "Oh my God, I love your hair. Are you a princess? You're so pretty."
Do you tell them, "Yes, I am a princess"?
Oh, absolutely. Every time.
Absolutely,
absolutely, I'm a princess. Of course.
Yeah, duh.
Right. They usually curtsy better than I do, though.
Yeah. They have time to practice and they're
right.
They usually got a tutu on or something. Oh man. That was one thing that was really nice about working with kids is that they have their whimsy and no one stripped them of that, and it's really nice.
I got 3. You come play with them if you feel like it. I'll bring them over.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
They're assholes, but they're my assholes, and I love them. I wouldn't change anything about him.
That's how I feel about my asshole, so I get it.
Oh.
Brandon!
Sorry.
Get out of here!
Disgusting.
All right, well, guys, thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you want to check out any of our socials, it'll be in the Beacons link in the show notes, beacons.ai. That'll take you to all of our links. It'll take it to all podcast ones, and then we each have a set of links there. It takes you to my Beacons, and then to a Google Doc for each of them for links to their pages of things.
Yoggy.
And then, if you have any paranormal, really like creepy stories that you want to send in that happened to you or family or friends or whatever, or like wholesome stories, anything you want us to like read off or just say, like want us to see, or just to tell us how we're doing, send that in to TPIBOTE@outlook.com. TPIBOTE.
TPIBOTE.
It's a good way to remember it. Who wants to lead this one out for us? Is this me again?
I don't care. Eeny, meeny, miny, that one.
All right, well, once again, thank you for listening. This podcast was based on true events. Good night.